in this video, I am going to be going through some tips on how to win fights as a fighter in Dungeonborne. So there's just going to be a couple of different clips, and I'm going to be kind of just talking through my thought process and explaining how I'm winning these fights. So in the first one, pretty simple. I've just cleared out this room, so I'm a little bit low, and then I hear this person over here clearing out this room. Pop the healing potion, A, because you're low, B, because you won it during the fight. Try and take them by surprise, and just pop Whirlwind as soon as you can. If you're pretty close to someone, they're not really going to have time to block if they don't know you're there. So I tried to open the door, and then when I opened the door, they knew I was there, and then I just sprung the Whirlwind on. Pretty low here, so you do want to make sure you block these attacks, because otherwise you're probably going to die. I'm not too confident in here. I know they're low, but I'm also low, so I don't want to die. So I just pop a healing potion, and then I try and chase them down, because I don't really want them to pop a bandage or something like that. But now I realize they've gone a little bit far, and I don't want to aggro any other enemies myself. So now I'm going to pop a bandage as well. My Whirlwind is almost on cooldown, so I might have that in a second. They pop theirs, so I'm just going to block all of it, and then I'm probably going to try and hit them with the attack after a parry. I'm probably going to go for a Whirlwind here at some point, go for a charge attack, parry, almost hit them with a parry, but I just miss. I pop another healing potion because I'm low. I think maybe I wasn't paying attention to my cooldowns, because I definitely should have just used a Whirlwind. I think that would have been a good play. I used my E ability to dash away, and now I do use the Whirlwind to try and take them by surprise, but I time it awfully. They were able to just get away with no problem whatsoever. And now they are going to have their Whirlwind, rather, again at some point, so you do have to watch out for that. Always pay attention to, you know, how much cooldown you have in your abilities, but also how much cooldown the enemy has on their abilities. I've drank a healing potion. I'm not too worried about the health. I'm not hearing the footsteps of that player, so I'm not super worried about that. I'm going to hear him if he starts coming closer. I just want to take out all of these enemies so that if I eliminate this person, it's not like an NPC is going to kill me. They use their Whirlwind, I block everything, I hit them with the parry afterwards. They use a charge attack, which I didn't back away from, which is definitely what I should have done, because obviously you can't block charge attacks. They run away, drink a healing potion, and I think I'm probably going to take them by surprise with a Whirlwind. I just want to let that healing potion kick in a little bit, just so I have some extra health, and then I am going to finally finish them off. So, you know, that was a fight between two fighters, lots of Whirlwinds happening there. I do think Whirlwind is better than their other ability, especially if you're taking someone by surprise, or especially if the other player just isn't that good and doesn't really have the reaction speed to block in time. So lots of Whirlwinds, but we kept blocking each other's, and then ultimately they tried to chase me down while I was low, or while they thought I was low. And I was able to just get a surprise Whirlwind on them, and they just didn't block it enough, so I was able to finish them off. But yeah, for this fight, the tips would be always pay attention to your cooldowns. I should have used my Whirlwind sooner in that fight, and then do also make sure you're paying attention to your opponent's cooldowns as well, because I was kind of ready for a couple of the Whirlwinds there, so I was able to block it much faster than I would have been if I was like, oh my god, it's a Whirlwind, what do I do? And then I block, right? So you gotta watch out for their cooldowns and expect them to use their abilities, but on to the next fight. So, I'm not hearing anyone. I opened this door because I can see that there's a portal behind it, and I am pretty good to exfil at this point. And then I see a swordmaster with their swords. I try to get to cover to dodge the sword. It doesn't really work, but they also don't do much damage. So I just pop a healing potion to get back to full, and again, you want it during the fight. They do a charge attack, and they kind of mess it up. I try for a Whirlwind, so I do get a good amount of damage in there. They get a nice parry, and I'm a little bit low. I don't really know why I backed out of this fight here. It's probably because I'm half health, and I didn't want the skeleton to damage me. I did think the swordmaster would be low there, but I guess I didn't want to push through there because I wasn't super confident about getting past the skeleton without getting hit. And obviously if I got hit by the skeleton, that would have been good. So here I see on the map that he's opening that portal. I don't want him to open that portal, so I immediately rush to the door, forget about the skeleton. I know I can make it through here this time without the skeleton attacking me. So I open the door and I hit them, because hitting someone stops them from opening a portal. But they panic and they stop opening the portal anyway. And then I am just able to eliminate them. So I think what might have happened is they might have been low and they might have been out of heals. I'm not entirely sure. You might actually see when I open their inventory here, they might have had some heals on them. But it seemed like they just wanted to get out of there. I guess maybe they're going to have good stuff. And so they just wanted to exfil. They did close the door, so maybe they thought that that would be enough. Yeah, they didn't actually have any heals. So my bet is that that's what happened there. I don't think they had any heals, so they just wanted to exfil, and they went for a risky exfil by that door. They underestimated how quickly you can open doors, and even though he was crouching and he was invisible because they were a druid, because the Swordmaster is a druid, not a druid, rather an elf, because the Swordmaster is an elf, I was able to see that he was invisible, and I was able to see the ping on the minimap, which is how I reacted so quickly, and it just didn't go that well for them. So for that game, always pay attention to the minimap. If someone's opening a portal nearby you, you definitely want to like change your game plan in certain occasions depending on if someone's close to you and if they're opening a portal close to you. Like maybe you want to take that portal, or maybe you want to let them go and then go into that room or something like that. And also always bring in heals. I think that person lost that fight because they didn't bring in enough heals, so always bring in lots and lots of heals for yourself as well. I did actually end up hearing someone in this room, so this is why I'm crouch walking through it, and I'm kind of looking for where they might be, and then I think I might just open the chest because I might as well. I like loot, right? So I open the chest, loot the chest, then I see this person in the corner, so they were crouch walking as well, and we're just crouching at each other. I think maybe they wanted to be friends, but that's not this type of video, that's not that type of video, so I try and shoot a crossbow shot, doesn't work out. They're a Death Knight, so I do have to watch out for their AoE. You gotta not stand in it for too long. And I just Whirlwind at them. I think they did not block a whole lot. I'm probably going to use my charge here to catch up to them in just a second. I should have used it while I was using that charge attack, but I didn't. That's an oversight by me. I actually don't think I used it at all, but then again, I didn't really need to because I did end up catching up to them anyway. But your E ability, the charge ability, doesn't cancel anything you're doing, so you could use a charge attack and then use the E ability and it will still execute the charge attack. So that's a nice little thing that you can do there. I just didn't do that, but I did end up killing them. So they just didn't block during the Whirlwind. If you don't block during the Whirlwind, things really aren't going to go that well for you. And so that means they went very, very well for me. So your Whirlwind is very, very powerful if you use it at the right time. I think during that fight, I used it like while they were doing an attack. So even if they are good, even if they know to block the Whirlwind, you should always try and use it while they're doing an attack, because that means at least 2 or 3 spins are going to hit them. You'll take a bit of damage, but they'll probably take more because they're going to get like 1 attack in and you're going to get like 2 or 3. So that's obviously going to do more damage. So for that one, you know, just Whirlwind is very good if you time it right, and that's basically that entire clip. I also should have used my E to charge up towards them, which I didn't do, but you should always use your E to catch up to people that are trying to get away as well. This is in the same game, and this is going to be more of a longer fight. So I open this door, and then I hear footsteps. I had no idea someone was this way. I was just happening to go this way. I was just passing by. Then I hear them. They're inside this room. I see them. I don't think they know I'm here, so I tried to take them by surprise with a Whirlwind and the E, and I just miss everything. So now both of my things are on cooldown, which isn't ideal. I do end up getting some hits on them. They turn me invisible, which means they are a rogue, and then a skeleton nicely knocks me out of that, which means I am able to get a couple of extra hits on them here. They went around that pillar. They're probably going to go around the other side, right? So just go around the other side. That's a free hit. They're a little bit lower. They're going to be a little bit easier to finish off. They go invisible, but I'm actually able to track the footsteps here. So even though they're invisible and even though they're hard to see, you can just track the footsteps sometimes, which is going to greatly help you out in locating where they are. I don't know how low they were, but they're really drinking a lot of potions, so I'm just trying to chase them down as much as possible. I finally just Whirlwind. They end up getting a little bit far away, and then I use my E while Whirlwind is active to catch up to them once again, and then I'm just able to take them out. So I think they must have been low going into that fight. I probably kept doing like little bits of chip damage to them, and they just kept trying to heal without throwing many punches themselves. They did try to turn me invisible, probably to heal up back to full, but they didn't take into the account that the skeletons could attack me to set me free. Obviously, if you go, if someone petrifies you, if you get hit, you become unpetrified, right? It's that, or you have to wait like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that. So unfortunately for them, they turned me into stone, and then the skeleton set me free, and then I was able to just finish them off. They did a lot of healing during that fight. They could have just probably run away. They didn't really try to do that. They tried to kind of just circle around the same room. They probably should have tried to run away, because the rogue is much, much faster than the fighter, so they could have used that to their advantage. It's probably what they should have done, especially if they weren't confident about the fight. And then they say they weren't confident about the fight because they just kept healing. So in that situation, if you're a rogue and you're low, you should just run, because you're very fast as a rogue. Rogue's probably the fastest class. Maybe the Panther for the Druid outperforms it, but the Rogue's very speedy. The Fighter is not, so you can definitely just run away in that situation. So that's what they should have done. and I won that by using Whirlwind because they just kept healing. I didn't think they would block it. They just kept pulling potions out, so I think I used the ability while they had a potion out, so they obviously couldn't block if they're holding a potion. And then while they got away, I just used the E to catch up to them and finish them off. In this match, I spawned near the kind of top of this castle bit, and I know that there used to be a spawn down here in the betas, so I was just kind of checking to see if there was still a spawn down there, and there is. So these spawns are quite close together, and this is a very, very good place to kind of take someone out. If you're a pyromancer, you can hurl lots of fireballs down here. There's not much cover, so if you're on top of the tower, that's a great place to stay and wait for someone to kind of walk underneath the bridge or something. But I'm a fighter, obviously not long range, so I just try and take them by surprise, get them with a whirlwind. I was hoping they would keep looting that chest, so I would be able to get a lot of free hits in. That doesn't end up happening, but I do end up killing them. And for the swordmaster, I'm not sure why, but for the swordmaster, when they die, their sword keeps going around until the timer's done. That doesn't happen for the Death Knight's AoE or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, the Swordmaster is the only one that happens with, but it doesn't really matter because they died, and now I am taking all of their stuff. So the tip for this is map knowledge and spawn knowledge is very, very, very powerful. I was able to just take that guy by complete surprise. They probably panicked a little bit, probably didn't like think to block in time, because this is very, very near the game. It's like the first ring. Not much time has passed whatsoever, so it's very, very early on, and you don't really expect to see people early on, especially if you're new to the game, which I would imagine a lot of people are right now. So having map knowledge and having spawn knowledge is very, very, very valuable because it allows the opportunity for just taking people by complete surprise very near the start of the game, which might just make them a little bit more panicky and stuff like that, which is what I think happened with that person there. And also, obviously, you gotta block the whirlwind. Like, you really have to block the whirlwind if someone uses it. I think they tried to block a bit of it, but I don't know, maybe they were low already from a different enemy they were fighting or something, but if someone's playing a fighter against you, you absolutely have to block the whirlwind, otherwise things really aren't going to go that well for you at all. And lastly, just to mention as well, I do think Whirlwind is going to be better than Battlecry. I think Battlecry is okay, it just really doesn't last for that long, and some of the passives I think are better for Whirlwind as well, like the 20% slow and the one that gives you a shield, and stamina and strength are also pretty easy to hit for the most part. Also, Whirlwind pairs very, very well with Charge, but I don't think Inspire pairs very well with either Whirlwind or Battlecry. So I do think Whirlwind is better than the other one, and then I think Charge pairs better with Whirlwind than it does with the other Q ability as well. So that's why I've got both of those on. I think those are going to be the kind of best combo you can use for the fighter. At least I personally prefer it. And then also, as for just general tips, don't use the Whirlwind kind of whenever, or if you panic. You should use the Whirlwind while someone is already doing an attack, because then you maximize the amount of hits that you're going to get, or if you're taking them by surprise so they don't have time to think about blocking or something like that. Also, if someone's trying to chase you down when you're low and you want to do a risky Whirlwind, they're probably going to be charging up an attack, especially if they're chasing you down, so that's also going to be a good time to use it. So the Whirlwind is very, very, very good against people that don't really know what they're doing, that are maybe new to the game, that don't know to block it and all of that kind of stuff, or people that are susceptible to panicking. And if they are good at the game, the fighter can still be very good. They've got a huge health pool, even though they're slow. Their dash is really nice, and the Whirlwind is very, very scary, so people are sometimes a bit hesitant to come up close to you. For the most part, they're very similar to Death Knight. I actually also didn't get any mages in any of the games that I played. I didn't happen to come across any mages, but if you do come across a mage, you're probably going to want to use a crossbow to do a little bit of damage from afar if they're very far away, and if they're not that far away, you're probably just going to want to close the distance, maybe using your dash, and then once you're up close, you're probably just going to want to use the Whirlwind because the orb does not have that much damage reduction, so you'll probably want to use that to start off the fight, and then just finish them off with the sword. But the main battle, if you're playing against a mage, is just getting close to them, and then once you're close to them, you're probably going to be just fine. So yeah, there you go. Let me know in the comments down below what class you would like to see kind of like a PvP guide for next. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be it for this video. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.